Hello everybody. So today I'm going to go over how to prevent how to prevent a DDoS when you're online streaming with Twitch TV or just online in general for gaming or things like that. A little bit of history. So in the Battlefield series, when I first started streaming on Twitch, I quickly realized that when people were watching my stream, they wanted to take me offline via DDoS attacks. And the way they were able to get my IP address is that Punkbuster, which was implemented in Battlefield Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, and Battlefield 4, actually advertises your IP address, your public routable IP address, to third-party services such as, I won't name them, but there are services out there that are supposed to be anti-cheat sites, which did maintain certain databases and provide some type of anti-cheat methods for Battlefield, but people could just create dummy accounts, actually setting up a server, like a gaming server, and then the site would actually let them see people's IP address in real time. They'd get your IP address, they'd do a volumetric attack on you, or whatever it may be, application specific. Whatever type of DDoS attack it was, it would basically saturate and take off your streaming connection. So your public IP is talking to Twitch, and you would go offline and you'd also lose connectivity to your game. Most home connections are only, 150 meg down at max, maybe 1 gig in certain countries, but if they can generate enough traffic that's below your max rate of your ISP, you're going offline. There's nothing you can do. So volumetric attacks were pretty easy to take people offline. Basically that sucks when you're gaming, right? So what are you going to do? How are you going to avoid that? So the basic first thing you could do is just, get a VPN service like private internet access or some other VPN provider, which would basically give you an IP address on their network, and then Punkbuster in turn would advertise that IP address to the third-party services. So when the guy got your IP to attack you, he would actually be attacking the VPN service IP and not your home IP address. He would not know that. You would lose your connection to the game, but your streaming connection would stay up, so you wouldn't be knocked offline because he can't find your IP address, right? He's hitting the VPN IP at this point. So that's all well and good, and then your connection goes off, you lose connectivity, but realistically, what you want to be able to do is to, excuse me, I'm sick. You want to be able to keep playing your game on an IP address and not be interrupted while you're doing it. You want the attack to be blocked, and you want to continue doing what you're doing. Now, you could easily do this and switch IPs through private internet access or some other provider. The problem with those applications is that the service is not very good. So if you're playing a game across like private internet access's network, sometimes the links are saturated and you'll get shitty connection, you get packet loss and all that. So what I've done is I've actually taken my own method and got a better way to set up the VPN connection using a virtual dedicated server. And I've done all the homework for all you guys. I've tried all the providers, Vultr, DigitalOcean, all the different providers. The single best provider out there to do this, what I'm going to tell you, is NFO servers. Okay? I have no affiliation with NFO servers, but I've done the homework, I've seen how they work, and they by far have the best anti-DDoS protection out there. I think the reason why they eventually got that protection is because they host a lot of game servers and people were getting taken offline. Sometimes if the guys can't attack you directly, they'll hit the game server and take you off that way. They'll take the entire server down. If the server provider doesn't have adequate DDoS protection, the server's going down and you're going to lose your connection anyway. Okay, so NFO servers is really good with DDoS protection. If you can have your VPN IP advertised as their IP address, when the guy goes to attack your IP, he's going to get denied and he's going to get blocked immediately. Okay? For most DDoS attacks, if they have a volumetric attack that can saturate the 40 gig connection that NFOs and most other providers have, NFO is currently at 40 gig. If they can give more traffic than 40 gig, they can potentially oversaturate the link, knock you offline and all the customers behind NFO's network. However, NFO cares about all their customers, not just specific IP addresses, so they protect their entire network. So when an egress attack comes in off the edge, off of that 40 gig connection, it's going to be knocked down almost immediately. Okay? And I've seen this happen. Their filters work. They're triggered automatically. If you're behind one of their IP addresses, you're going to continue to operate. You'll take a bulk of traffic and a peak of your traffic on the interface. But the filter will quickly go into place and it will be mitigated and you'll continue on working as you were. 1 second, guys. I need a drink. Okay. So, how are we gonna do this? First step, I have asthma, guys, so I'll be breathing a little heavy here as I'm using more oxygen. This is a virtual dedicated server that I've set up to do this tutorial. The time's wrong there. Haven't bothered changing the time or anything, but we should probably do that. Again, not a big deal. Just have the correct time. I'm just going to disconnect from this real quick and reopen it back up with the proper resolution so it doesn't take the entire screen. That should be good. All right, it's a little bit better there. Okay, so that's going to stay. So, the first step we're going to do. Now, I was using the Windows built-in VPN service with routing and remote access. However, that service only uses UDP packets, and the problem is it generates 100-byte packet payloads. So when I had my VPN connected through NFO servers, when I was passing traffic through the VPN, this service was blocking me because it looked like a UDP flood. There's no way to alter that in the Windows remote routing and remote access, so I chose not to use that anymore. I wanted a solution that I could either choose TCP or UDP for my payloads, and I was initially looking at OpenVPN, but there's a lot of reasons why I didn't end up using it. Okay. So the service that I found is called SoftEther. It's a free VPN solution. They provide a client and a server free of charge. They're awesome. The software's magnificent. If you like it, after you use it, definitely go and donate to them, okay? First step I'm going to do is I'm going to install the SoftEther VPN Server. Okay? I'm just going to next through all these things unless there's something specific that I need to tell you. Did I do the right one? Nope, I clicked the client, sorry. Skip that. Server. We'll do the client later. And you're going to click next. Agree. Next. Next. Yeah, default location is all good for this stuff. Install that. Gonna say yes to this as well. I'll pause at each one of these steps for it so you guys can see. But I'm creating this on Twitch TV so I can quickly export it to YouTube without having to upload it. It's basically uploaded Twitch to YouTube very fast. So we're going to start the VPN manager. At the same time, you can see that SoftEther, there's an actual Windows service running, okay? So that will always be running, okay? Now I'm setting this up, so I've done this once already, but again, I might have to fumble just a little bit here. But so we're going to connect to this. This is the actual server instance that we just looked at. We're going to want to go ahead and first we're going to go into edit settings here. This is all fine. Yeah. It's all good, right? We're going to connect to the actual server that's running on the machine so we can configure it. Let's create a temporary password, whatever you want it to be. Again, this is to connect to the server. That's local, so we can configure it. Okay? And we just want a remote access VPN. 1 second here. What did I select? Other. I think it's just a remote access. Let me just read this real quick. I don't remember what I did. Okay, so check LTTP, but we're not going to use that. It looks like it creates a default name for us. And there's no way to change that. I believe that I deleted this one. Created my own so I could give my own name. We'll call it test. Okay. You're going to select a password that you want to connect to this virtual hub. Set it online. I'm not going to set a max VPN connection. Oops, I did 2 S's. Whoops. Okay. Manage users. We're going to add a new user here. Just call it admin. We're going to give it a password, the user. Click OK. It's been created. Great. Now we got our user. We got our virtual hub created. Wish I didn't rename that. Spelled that correctly, but whoops, whatever. Encryption and network. This encryption algorithm is fine. You can mess with this, but that's the fastest one, so just keep it. You can leave this enabled if you want. I actually disabled it, but you have to do it through the configuration. I can show you that after, but again, that's not a big deal. PC. We enabled this just in case you were using like an Android phone that you did not have OpenVPN installed on. You could use this to connect. But if you're using OpenVPN, I'll show you that after. Again, this server does OpenVPN connections as well, which is great. Okay, so our virtual hub's online. We have a user created. The next thing we have to do is we have to configure NAT, network address translation, so your clients coming in can access the internet, right? So, just trying to remember where the hell that is, but I think it's under. It's not. That's how we edit the server config. If we wanted to disable that dynamic DNS, we would just disable that in here. I think it's under properties. Nope. There it is. Virtual NAT and DHCP server. We want to enable a secure NAT. You can read what this does, but trust me, just configure enable secure NAT. Secure NAT configuration. You can alter this if you want. However, you don't have to. You can just leave it the default, and your client addresses will get distributed address space out of this range here. Okay? Pretty standard addressing scheme. You can change it if you'd like. Also, you can do static routes and all types of different shit in here. So we'll leave it default. Exit. Okay, so now we have our server basically set up. Other option I want to show you, if you have an open VPN client and you're sick of dicking around with Windows Open VPN is horrible. It may work for like Linux, CentOS, things like that, but if you're looking for a GUI-based VPN solution, this server is the shit. So what you can do is just click on Open VPN, and you can basically, here's the default Open VPN port. You're going to be using UDP to connect, and if you want to connect, you can just simply generate a sample configuration here. It's going to export this zip file to your desktop. Just say yes to this, that's fine. And then this is the contents of the zip file. So if I wanted to connect to this server using an Open VPN client, either on my Android phone, my iPhone, or my PC, you would simply export this configuration file right here to your phone, into your PC, import it into the Open VPN client, and boom, you can connect. Okay? It's that simple. It works like a charm. Okay, so let's go to my computer now, and let's go ahead and establish a connection to the server. I already have the client installed. It's pretty basic, guys. Just go through the next, blah, blah, blah. First thing you want to do when you come in here is create a VPN adapter. I've already created a VPN adapter. This is a logical adapter that you're going to have to create so you can use the server, okay? Just right-click, hit New Virtual Adapter, just next all the way through, okay? Then we're going to add a VPN connection. I'm going to call our VPN connection test because that's what we need in the server. The IP address I have saved here, so I'll show you this after. This is another tool we're going to set up. 443 is the port, that's fine. TCP/IP connection, yes. And our password that I set up. Not sure why it does that, but that's not the right password. Should always mask the password, but it didn't, so. Go back here. Manage users, edit. Okay, so the passwords match. Exit out of there. Back to my computer. And we're going to, oh no, that's why it was the username, my bad. So yeah, so I was expecting it to mask the password. One important thing here, like I'll show you for example, we're going to go into here and we're going to change this max TCP connections beyond 1, and I'll show you why in a second. But so for right now, I'm just going to hit OK. It's going to create my connection here, and I'm going to hit connect. And you can see immediately right there I'm connected. This is my computer, so I'm connected to the VPN very easily, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up NetLimiter over here so you can see. And we'll see that under these processes here, there's basically one TCP connection open there to the VPN server. Okay? And if I go to the server machine under here and view server status, nope, that's not it. I always forget what this is. Manage virtual hub. Manage sessions. And I don't care if you guys see my IP address, it will be changed by the time this video is released, so don't worry about it. But if you see TCP connections are 2, session information. Now I'm going to go back to my computer real quick here, and I'm going to go to speedtest.net. First I'm going to go to what is my IP. I misspelled that, but whatever, you guys get the idea. That's the public ID is. This particular one's not with NFO. I'm using a different VDS provider to just do this quick tutorial for you guys. So I'm not actually using NFO's IP space, but this would be the same once you were behind NFO servers, okay? And you can see my public IP address is now 45, and it's through Chupa. It's in New Jersey. So if I was playing a game, Battlefield 4, 3, the good thing about, I think Battlefield 1 is not going to use Punkbuster, so we may not have this problem, but in any case, I'm creating this so you guys know how to do it. But if we were playing Battlefield 3 or 4, your public IP address will be displayed and advertised as such right there. So anybody looking up your IP address while you're playing a game would hit that IP address right there. And in the scenario that we're creating right here, that would be an NFO assigned IP address. As soon as they hit that IP address, the filter's going to kick in and their attack's going to get blocked. Okay? And an example of that happening is right here. Okay? Those are a couple different attacks that came in on my VDS. And immediately, as soon as the attack comes in, you see a brief spike of traffic and it's immediately blocked. So I'll just leave that up there for a second for you guys if you want to read that. They have many different filters. They know what they're doing. So all you little kiddies out there that are doing DDoS attacks are immediately going to get blocked. They do source route triggered black holing for multiple spoofed IP addresses. They'll just block the entire range. Okay. So where was I? So we know what our public IP address is. I'm going to do a speed test, and we're going to watch those TCP connections. Okay. Speed test. Excuse me. Apologize, guys. I am sick. Oh, shit. I didn't want speakeasy. I wanted speedtest.net. Let's go back here. .net. See my IP address? That's my VDS IP address. Begin test. I'm going to bring up the TCP connections while we do this, okay? See how they're just staying at, the connections are staying at 2? We're still getting pretty good speed, but we still only have two TCP IP connections open. So the speed is pretty good regardless. could struggle just a little bit because you want multiple connections. That's almost capping out my... Actually, this might be causing me to drop some frames for this recording. It is. Oops. Didn't think about that. So you probably guys caught a little bit of lag there for a second because I was saturating my upload. So sorry about that. I won't do the speed test again, but basically what we're going to do is we're going to go back here. Okay, we'll close this down. Go back to the VDS and... Did this get minimized here? No, it didn't. I close this out. We're going to disconnect temporarily. This is my computer, so the client. Oops. I'm going to disconnect that guy there. I'm going to right click on the session. I'm going to go back into advanced settings and we're going to change the TCP connections to, you can set whatever you want, but I just bang it out right at 32. Alright, so what that will do is we'll reconnect now. Keep in mind, I'm disconnected, so if I go to the IP, what is my IP? It's going to be my public IP. As soon as I connect here, there's my IP address. Boom, I'm connected. You can see right on Net Limiter now, all the TCP connections, all 32 TCP connections are going to open up. And you'll have data flowing across each individual one. It's opening up 32 TCP connections now instead of just 2. Okay. So now we can bang out all types of data. If I did that speed test again, which I'm not going to do because it's going to saturate my upload, you'll see that all these are communicating now. Okay. Another thing you can do is that if you right-click on this and you set Start as Startup Connection, as soon as you reboot your computer, you're going to get connected to the VPN automatically. Okay. So that's pretty useful. If you always want to be connected to your VDS, you just set that option. As soon as you come online, boom, you connect up. All right. Okay, so that takes care of that. Got the server set up. Client's connected. We know we're transmitting data. We're secure because we're behind NFO space once we have the VDS set up, so we can't get DDoSed. Next thing I'm going to show you is OpenVPN. Now, private internet access, I use these as backups. Like if I were ever to need another IP address, if something happened to my VDS or whatever, I just bang onto one of those. But basically, your properties here in your OpenVPN shortcut. Actually, let me do this one because this is mine. You would copy the shortcut to point to your NFO configuration or whatever your OpenVPN configuration is. And inside this OpenVPN connection, I have it pointing to a password file, so it automatically logs me in to this same server here via OpenVPN. Remember right when I said you could export the OpenVPN settings right here, which generated this zip file. You unzip it, export it, and then you would import the profile using the OpenVPN client. Actually, you would just copy the OVPN file name to your OpenVPN configuration directory here. See, it's got all those in there. You can see I have NFO set up here, and then in turn I'm pointing to this password file. So when I click this icon, this shortcut, it automatically connects me to my OpenVPN server here. Okay, if I'm not using this client here, and for some reason you guys want to use an OpenVPN client, that's fine, you can do that. So you'd point this shortcut to my NFO file, and I'll just show you how that's going to work as well, okay? I should probably actually copy this example down for you guys and add it to this here. Just so that's an example for OpenVPN. I'll put that in the description of the video once I export it to YouTube. But so what we're going to do now is we're going to disconnect the VPN connection in the client software. Disconnect. Okay, and then we're just going to close that out and say you like to use OpenVPN. In other words, you don't want to use this client, although this client's the shit. It lets you auto-connect and start up. It's got a lot of different features. You can increase your TCP connections, etc. So you want to use the OpenVPN, either on your Android or whatever. So I'm just going to click the NFO icon that I have set up. It's going to connect. You can see it gave me an IP address, and I'm connected. Boom, there's my IP address. NFO is now connected. Your IP address is blah, blah, blah. If I come back to the server again, I'm forgetting where the fuck that is. Server status, no. It's under Manage Virtual Hub. There we go. Manage Sessions. You can see I'm connected again, but now, did this refresh? Oh, I'm sorry, dude. I'm connected to my VDS. This is a shortcut to my VDS. It's not pointing to the temporary one I just set up. So basically, you would see the session show up here. You're not seeing it because this is not my actual VDS. This is a temporary VDS that I'm doing this presentation for. Okay. So again, just to summarize, you would create an OpenVPN shortcut. You would alter the target to point to the NFO or configuration file that you have in your OpenVPN configuration. And I don't want to open this up, dude, because I'm on stream. So let me just move this to another screen for a second here. This may open on my primary screen, though. But let me see here. I don't think it actually says anything in there. Let me just open with. And it opened it on the other screen. Good. Okay, so that's cool. And let me just see. So basically, inside this NFO configuration, which has been created by the server, I just renamed it. Remember, that's the one that I clicked here to export. This zip file under this folder over here. Where is it? Just close this. Where the fuck is the folder? Did I not extract it? I didn't. So I'll just put that there. Basically, I took this exported configuration and just renamed this to NFO. Copied it into the configuration file. And then inside the configuration file, I'll show you the key that you would, this here. So this is the configuration file. And you would add this line to the configuration file. And then inside your VPN directory on your computer, did I close it? This is back to my computer, and I think I did. No, it's on my other screen. Okay, whoops. Duh. Okay, so we'll go back here. This NFO pass, you would actually point it to the NFO pass.txt. You put your password in there, your username, hit enter, password, save the file. It'll automatically log you in. And I'm just showing you this just so you know that the server can also do OpenVPN. You don't even have to worry about this if you just want to use the client that's built into the server software. Okay, there's no need to do this. I also have private internet access set up here. With their client, I can connect to the private internet access service, and I also have one for OpenVPN. So you can connect to private internet access with their client, or you can use the OpenVPN one. Again, it's the same principle. Instead of my NFO shortcut, I would just right-click on this one. Whoops. I had a cough, so I muted. And basically, I'm just pointing it to my US-East OpenVPN file, which is under OpenVPN, which is part of, you download these files from private internet access, create your own directory, and you can point it there. And I also have a password that automatically logs me in to the private internet access. Just if you don't feel like using their client, you wanted to do OpenVPN for everything. But again, you can use their client, so there's really no need to worry about that either. So, you're probably better off just using this client. I mean, I really like it because you can do the right-click auto-connect. It works like a charm. As soon as you boot your computer, you're connected to the VPN. So it's perfect in that regard. Had to cough there for a second. And let's see. So we know, I think I've gone over. Let me see if I'm forgetting anything here. Ah, another thing I wanted to mention is on your router. In case you ever got into a jam, let me open this over here. You can change your IP address with your internet service provider. You don't have to call them to do it, okay? All you have to do is clone your MAC address on your router, and that will assign you a new IP address from your ISP. As soon as it sees a new MAC inbound, it will drop your DHCP lease, and it will give you a new IP address. You cannot renew and release from your ISP service provider. It will not give you a new IP address. There's a lease time on the DHCP server. Could be for 24 weeks. Who the fuck knows, right? You're not getting a new IP unless you clone your Mac. So inside your router software, I'm just looking at mine right now. Just give me a second here. It's on my WAN connection here. And I just want to make sure, let me look at all the settings. Make sure there's nothing that I shouldn't be showing you guys. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't show you that because, so let me just do a quick screenshot. Okay. And we'll save that to the desktop. There it is. Yeah, that'd be good. Any addresses that are here will be gone by the time I edit this. So basically, your MAC address, you would just grab a MAC address here from a MAC generator, put it in there, hit apply, reboot your cable modem or whatever you have in. You don't have to reboot the router, just reboot the cable modem. Come back up, you will have a new public IP address if you get in a jam. Someone gets your IP or whatever, just so you know how to do that. Okay, just going to mute and check my notes real quick. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you guys is a way to manage your VDS. You can use this on your home computer, you can use this wherever you want, but it's a file transfer program which also allows different capabilities, which I'll show you. So we can close this manager. This shit's running 24/7, so you'll always be able to connect to your server. Remember I showed you that Windows process. I'm going to show you, this is called Bitvise, and this server is really useful if you don't know about it. I'm going to install this. Again, I'm on the server right now. You're going to click Standard Edition, so you can use it for free. I really only use this for like one computer, just my VDS, so you can do that for free, which is awesome. Okay. Now, what we want to do is configure. I'm going to have to actually get the password for the VDS, so let me drag this to a different window. Go to their management console. I'll show you why I'm showing this to you. Definitely is a useful tool. And server details, copy that. Okay. Okay, so let's set this shit up. I'll continue editing. I usually don't do it from this screen, but that's fine. Listening port 22, so this is going to be an SSH connection. And again, I'll show you why all this shit's done. If you have your firewall, you want it to open a port on your firewall, we're going to add a Windows account. Again, I don't usually do this from here, so let me just, I guess I could do it from here. I'm just not familiar with it. Let's add a Windows account. We're going to look for a local account, and we're going to basically, actually, I think you can hit advanced here. And click Find Now, and it should bring up a list of users. So we'll do administrator. Hit OK. Login allowed, public keys, shell access, command line basically, and it's not asking me for a password here, but I know where to set that. So we'll just create the account here. We'll go next. Not going to do virtual accounts, but you could create accounts with usernames like Alex, Ralph. Give them a password. They can log into a virtual account as well. I'm only using one, so I'm just going to do the administrator account. Save changes, save settings, and start the server. Start the server. Again, if I go to and you can see that we have a constant server process running just like we have for SoftEther for the VPN client server. Okay, there we go. So your server's running. I'm going to open the advanced settings here, and I'm going to go to second here. It's been a little bit since I did this, but Windows accounts. We're going to edit the one I just created. Login allowed, yes. Don't think I have to specify the password because it already knows what the password is. So I'll probably have to do that when I log in. So we'll just click OK here. There's a lot of other options within this server for, people probing your server. You can block them. You can block friggin' names that people log in with, like a blacklist. You can block IPs. There's tons of different controls within the server. I'm not going to go over all of them. Just know that they're there if you need them. So it is connected. We're going to go to our client machine now, which is my computer. I already have the password already configured in here with the IP address. There's a couple different options that we're going to check in here. If you wanted to open a terminal window, SFTP and remote desktop all on login, you could do that. I don't like to do that. I like to do that stuff individually. Okay. I have to move this over here real quick so I can update the IP address here because I have it set differently. So just one moment. We are going to change this real quick. Okay, we'll bring that back. Also, when you, okay, so let's just go through these. I'll tell you that in a second. This is all fine. This is basically when you connect to the server, you're doing a remote, you're doing an SSH connection, which is encrypted. So all your traffic is, whether you transfer via, SFTP, whatever the traffic is, remote desktop, whatever it is, it's all encrypted. SOCKS HTTP forwarding with port 1080, enable that. I'll show you that in a second. You don't have to worry about, you can do client to server rules and server to client rules. Don't worry about that stuff. SSH, these are your encryption algorithms, etc. Remote desktop, I would recommend changing the 3389 default port on your VDS if you do set one up to some other port other than the default of 3389 because you will get probed in that port constantly. It eats up CPU cycles. Change it immediately, and then you would connect here and put in your port number after the colon. Okay, we're leaving it default because this shit will be gone in like 2 seconds after I'm done. So save the profile, log in. It's gonna, oh, you see on the server, it said, here's my connection. I'm going to accept and save this encryption key. And you can see I am now connected via administrator on the server. Again, this is my computer. This is the server. Okay, close this for now. Don't save. And the cool thing about this is now I can open my control panel, and this actually connects me to the server, just like I'm seeing here on the remote machine. I have the same options. Edit the settings, see the sessions. This is me connected. Again, if I open this on the server machine, you can see the exact same information over here. That's me connected. Okay, what did I do? Did I connect to? That's why. That shouldn't be my IP address, but anyway. Probably lose my connection there for a second. So that's cool, right? What can you do with this? Well, you can open a terminal window with it. I think I just lost my connection because I disconnected that, so let me just log out, log back in, and do terminal session there. Again, these IP addresses will all be different unless you're going to try to attack me right now. But so here's my remote console from my machine connected. You can, do whatever you want via command line. It's like an all-in-one stop shop to your VDS for file transfers, command line. You see someone just tried to, if this is one of you guys, I don't know, but you're not going to get in. So open SFTP. I can go in here and I can transfer files using SFTP. I don't know if I have a sample file to transfer, but you get the idea. And once you're uploading or downloading, you can see the status in here and stuff like that. The next thing I can do is I can close this. Say you're behind a firewall at work or somewhere else. I'm going to close this Windows desktop session that I have created directly using, this tool. And I'm going to just click the remote desktop session here. And basically it tunnels your remote desktop traffic through the SSH tunnel using port 22 so you can get out through the firewall. Okay? Very useful. If you're behind a firewall and you can't connect to your server, this is a solution to avoid that. All right. So I'm going to close that because I have the other RDP session for the correct resolution for this presentation. So I'm going to open that back up. Okay. So we went over control, terminal, file transfer, remote desktop, and now we're going to go over the HTTP forwarding, which is really cool. So if you use this client down here that we were talking about earlier and you automatically connect to your VDS when you come up online, then when you open your browser, I have it configured on here, so I'm going to go over to this one here. Just quick do that. And what we can do is we can download a extension for either Google Chrome or Firefox called Foxy Proxy. And you can go into your options and create a rule which basically says connect to a SOX proxy. It's SOX v5. My local port, my remote port, my local IP address. Localhost is going to resolve to 127.0.0.0.1. And you basically click save. And then when you want to surf and you want traffic to go over your VDS connection while you're connected to your VPN underneath, you can quickly go here. Why don't I see the... Usually there's a tab when you right click that lets you... That's weird. I don't know if that's bugged out. Huh. Let me close this and open that back up. I'm sorry, I have to left click on it, not right click. You can change that though. That's why I haven't changed it yet. But basically, I'm going to collect NFO for all URLs. And let's see, we'll go to, I don't know, speed test. And what we'll do is on here, we'll watch the traffic being sent through the proxy. See, all this traffic right now is being encrypted via SSH, via port 22, and being sent through your VDS and out through its internet connection. Okay, so there's various reasons why you would want to do that. Again, if you're at work, if you're somewhere where you need to get out using port 22, or you just don't want any of your private shit going over an unencrypted HTTP tunnel or port, you can encrypt it through this process here. Okay. On the server, at the same time, I can watch the actual traffic coming in if I go to a site, like speed test again. You see it shows me all the connections, everything that's going through. Okay. For some reason I want this guy connected. Again, people won't be able to connect, but you can block the IP address, you can block ranges, you can do all types of different shit. Okay. So that's cool. When you don't want to go through your VPN, you just disable it and you're done. This also has a client, so I installed the server software on the server, but there's also a free client, which is this right here, that you would also use. You can use this for so many different things. It's amazing. I love this program. You don't have to install FTP clients. You can use this for everything, every file transfer that you would ever think about, or management for your VDS. You can use this. Okay, so that's pretty cool. While I'm at it, I covered all the topics of the DDoS prevention, but there's one other thing that I wanted to show you guys with regards to Twitch streaming. Okay, there is this program called Live Streamer, and what it allows you to do, I watch some Twitch streams for I also Twitch stream, but I also watch streams via Twitch a lot. So a lot of times the damn flash that's built into the browser really stinks, and you can't you can't watch a stream with good quality. Could be because you have a bad CPU or whatever, but this thing's so cool. You can click on your games that you're following. It brings up a list of your games, the live streamers that I'm currently following. I can click on any one of these guys. We're doing Phased right now. He's a good dude. Definitely go give him a follow. And it brings up his stream in VLC. And there he is. All right, so it brings it up in VLC. At the same time, you can actually open the chat using Chatty. I may or may not have this shortcut pointed correctly to the Chatty software. But if I did, it would, when you click this chat button, it would actually bring it up. I don't think I do.
You wouldn't come down here. I thought it was like the electronics or something. Maybe it's
okay. So that's how you do that. If I went into settings and I went into the configuration for chat, this is probably wrong right here. I'm guessing. Again, let me go fix this because apparently I've moved something and don't remember. So we'll go into, where are we saying here? Dropbox, game. I think I moved that folder. Yeah, I did. I put it into a different directory. So where are we here? Yeah, there it is. Okay, let's see. Chatty jar, open, and there we go. Apply. Go back to the live stream. I can just open chat directly if I want to without even open the video. And there's the chat. So you would have your live stream watching in VLC, which I can tell you the CPU usage is like 40% lower from Flash as opposed to the VLC, watching it via VLC. So just another handy tool that comes in handy if you're watching Twitch streams a lot. I do, so I like it. Just wanted to show you guys that. Just do a search for live streamer. Again, I could put all the links for all this shit in here, but typically links change and stuff, so you're better off just doing a Google, going to the and downloading it. Close that out there. And let's open up the file. So I just want to summarize basically what the purpose of this was for, to protect yourself via DDoS attacks online using a virtual dedicated server that's connected via VPN with a provider that has anti-DDoS capabilities that actually work. Okay, I've tested them all out. Some charge you individual for DDoS protection. NFO protects their entire network because they know that when an attack comes and it affects one customer, it affects all. So they want to protect their entire network. They're a top-line service. I have no affiliation with them, but if you're going to do this solution that I've just showed you how to do, you're going to want to select NFO. And if you do, I recommend the following configuration: a 4-core server, 4 gig of RAM, 24 gigabit of bandwidth transfer. You can order at this URL. And then for your downloads for your SoftEther VPN Server and client, just do a search. It will bring you here. You'll select what you want to download, install. Same thing for Bitvise. That's the address for the site. Download and install, and you'll be good there. So, again, I don't think this problem is going to be happening in BF1 from the BF1 trial that I'm currently involved in right now. I don't see that it's using Punkbuster, so it may not be a problem with advertising your IP to the public. But in general now, ever since I've become DDoS victims through Twitch and stuff like that, I never surf or go anywhere without being behind a VPN of some sort, whether it's private internet access, my VDS, or some different provider, never surfing with my public IP, and all my shit's encrypted now. Okay, so I would recommend the same for you guys as well. Um, and I think that is it. Let me just check and see if I missed anything here. If you guys like this, go ahead and give me a follow on Twitch. My channel, bring that up here. Go to Twitch. And my channel is IP Engineer 78. And I'm just creating this video because I've been online quite a few times to try to look for things when I was having these problems, and really nothing. There's a lot of tutorials out there that talk about this subject, but nothing actually explained how to get around it or how to, actually prevent it. And this solution works. The provider I'm using works for this specific application. So I would definitely take advantage of it if you want to protect yourself. And I'll put some links down, and I'm going to export this to YouTube. Again, I was recording this via Twitch, so I can just quickly export it to video. That way the file transfer from Twitch to YouTube is very fast, rather than me using my upload to get it over to YouTube. Very handy feature. Works like a charm. They're both on, 100 gig pipes. Boom. Connected, that fucking file flies. All right, so I'm going to go change all my IP addresses, shut down the temporary VDS, and I think that summarizes it all. If you guys have any things that you didn't understand, just go back and look at the steps. They're pretty straightforward, and I hope it helps you guys out and protects you from DDoS, whether it be UDP flooding, SYN floods, volumetric attacks, you name it. It'll help you guys. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.